Sorry, Jack. Chucky's back.
What up? It's your boy T-Bear here with the reaction. Time for the kill count, and like I said, it's still going on Chucky. This is like closer to the end of the Chucky run I'm doing, because it's the final of the newer ones, which is this Cult of Chucky. First off, shout out to those who did watch my Curse of Chucky one live, and actually did threw some comments in there too. I appreciate it though. The most I got in the chats for sure though. I liked it. Yeah, I gave some more info too. Like, you know, the girl that played Nika was the daughter of Brad. I forget her name is, that plays Charles and did the voice of Chucky as well too. And that was his daughter, but good bigs up on this one though. But yeah, about to do Cult of Chucky, and I tell you, I almost
count where we tally up the victims and all.
Stop. Almost lost on Curse of Chucky when the girl got stabbed in the eye. Had to hold one eye open, like I was trying, like I thought I was gonna lose it, but like wait, keep one eye open and you still win. I did. Y'all peeped that too. We always said it's funny that I closed the eye that she got stabbed in though. That was funny, but I might lose on this one. I did watch it, but a couple times I turned my head or anything. So without further ado, here is the kill count of Cult of Chucky. Came out 2017 on Netflix, and definitely is gonna be trying not to look away, and I got a feeling I'm gonna lose this trying to look away. Let's get it.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at the brand new movie, Cult of Chucky, released earlier this week on DVD, Blu-ray, video on demand, and Netflix. Cult of Chucky is a direct sequel to Curse, picking up 4 years after Nika's committal to a mental institution. Cult takes place primarily in the asylum, playing off the fact that nobody's likely to believe a committed person about a walking, talking doll. Despite its direct-to-video release, the film's look is even more artistic and stylized than the sleek aesthetic of Curse. Cult is a confident step forward for the franchise, bringing together loads of characters and ideas from previous films and mixing them all together in a chaotic blend that happily sets up another sequel at its conclusion. And although the last act of this movie is capital B bonkers, most of it is a slow burn that's more reminiscent of the original Child's Play. Still, when the kills finally come, they freaking deliver. So let's see what's in store.
Alright. Oh boy, here we go.
The movie begins in a skyscraper restaurant, shot much like the apartment building from Child's Play 1. Fitting, since the guy eating here is Andy Barclay, again played by Alex Vincent from the first 2 movies. He and his date are talking about his past since she went and looked him up.
You Googled me.
Nah man, she used internet search, and through it she learned about the whole crazy killer doll claim. She says the whole situation is a bit too much for her and leaves. Her lost dude, she's missing out on having probably the cutest kid she could ask for. Andy takes his truck back to his Lincoln log cabin home, where he keeps a locker with enough arms to take over an Oregon wildlife refuge. He's also got a fine collection of stuffed heads everywhere, including a special one kept behind a framed Kent Academy sweater. Turns out I was right to not include Chucky in the kill count for Curse. So take that, internet commenters. Apparently Andy's been keeping Chucky's head locked up and using it to practice his carpentry skills. Seems like they almost have a sort of mutual respect thing going on, since Andy lets Chucky take a hit off that J. But Chucky's still a little fucky and bites at Andy's fingers to scare him. Adult Andy ain't having it though.
You wanna play?
And his new form of playtime involves a freaking blowtorch. One order of Chuck Brulee coming right up. The opening credits sequence is something straight out of an AMC. Clips from Curse and news articles setting up the story ahead. Then we're back with Nika, who's been getting electroshock treatment and therapy from Dr. Foley, who, over the past 4 years, has gotten her to accept that Chucky isn't real and that she was the one who murdered her whole family.
What I did was unforgivable.
He says that because of her progress, he's transferring her to a medium security facility where she gets a blindingly white room set up by a nurse named Carlos. He's played enough, but says he's not a big Nika fan because of the whole, mass murder thing. Nika explores the rest of this clinically colorless locale and meets some of the cast we'll get to see murdered. They include Angela, who claims to have died and be invisible to everyone else in the ward, although that's quickly disproven with a jump scare by a guy who introduces himself as Michael. Like Carlos, Michael is friendly to Nika, but unlike Carlos, he's not too bothered by her murderous past. At least not too bothered to bang her in the stairwell. Get it, Nika? Dr. Foley holds a group session with the rest of the inmates, like Claire, an angry firebrand who doesn't feel safe around Nika since all she ever did was light her house on fire.
You always bring that up.
And Madeline, a demure lady whose reason for being there is revealed later on. When Nika explains her backstory to them and mentions her niece Alice, Angela sits up and tells her that Chucky had given her a little ring-a-ding-ding and left a message with her.
He said to tell you he's coming for you.
Sounds like a great time for Doc Foley to prove to everyone that Nika's down to dolls, so he whips out a good guy to show that she's cool.
Hi.
I'm Chucky.
Madeline is super into it, adopting the doll,
He's my baby.
and making sure he eats his din-din at supper time. Also over dinner, Michael reintroduces himself as Mark, and Nika finds out that this guy has multiple personality disorder and is called Multiple Malcolm. When Dr. Foley takes Nika to see a visitor, the audience gets a real treat in the form of Jennifer Tilly, who brings a splash of color into the film as a femme fatale introduced as Alice's legal guardian, Valentine. And don't worry, the movie doesn't forget that Jennifer Tilly exists in this universe.
Did anyone ever tell you look exactly like Jennifer Tilly?
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Because that is Jennifer Tilly's body, but it's Tiffany's soul. Since Tiffany's body, which also looks strikingly similar to Jennifer Tilly's, died in Bride of Chucky. Got that? Nika asks after Alice, and Tiffany don't mince words.
She's dead, Miss Pierce.
To really guilt trip the hell out of Nika, she says Alice died of a broken heart, but mentions that Alice wanted to bequeath the doll to Nika.
Hi, I'm Chucky.
Nika's straight shook, meaning J-Tills did her job, so she makes her exit.
Good luck.
Come back soon, Jennifer, we love you! Foley puts Chucky in his office, but that night Chucky escapes and first person makes his way to a conveniently doll-height drawer to steal a scalpel behind Carlos, who's still hard at work. How long's your shift, brother? Chucky starts looking for Nika's room, showing off the latest look of the doll and its movements until he's interrupted by Angela. Time for your first line in this movie as a whole complete Chucky doll, dude. What kind of killer fun you got for us?
Where's Nika?
Oh, that's okay. He gets back to his smart-ass self soon enough after Angela tells him he isn't real and is just a figment of her imagination.
You fucking with me?
Ah, there's our boy. Chucky leaves Angela with the promise that she's next and goes to Nika's room. But when he gets there, he finds a broken spoke in her wheelchair and a pool of her blood on the ground. Turns out she used the metal to slit her wrist because she felt so guilty about Alice's death. That's okay, Chucky. We can still chalk that one up as an assist if you want. But Chucky knows assists don't help his KD, so the next morning, Nika wakes up to find a message for her written in blood and her wrist wounds all sealed up. Nice stitch work, Chucky. Charles Lee Ray paid attention in home ec. Not everyone made it through the night alive, though, as Nika and the rest of the people at the hospital find the body of Angela in her bed, her wrist cut open with Nika's metal spoke, giving us our first kill in the movie a whopping 31 minutes in. Looks like Carl's gonna take things slow. The main character inmates discuss Angela's death in another group session, with Claire yelling that Nika did it, but Foley insisting it wasn't her fault. Malcolm's the only one with the right idea.
Chucky did it.
So of course he gets freaked out when Madeline and her adopted good guy arrive and reveal that there are now two Chuckys. As they explain where the second doll came from, Nika realizes that Valentine meant Tiffany Valentine.
Is Alice her niece?
Ray's girlfriend.
So now she starts thinking maybe she isn't crazy after all, and that Chucky really is a bad guy. To prove it's just a doll, Foley takes a lighter to Chucky's hand, holding it there long enough to melt his fingers into a little nasty good guy claw. But since Nika is smart and awesome and I freaking love her, she immediately realizes Chucky might have swapped places with Madeline's doll and wants to try him at the stake too, but the rest of the group is done with this kangaroo court. Madeline goes for a walk to get away from Nika, and Malcolm agrees to help find out what's going on, while also revealing that his Mark persona is just Adam Herdig's impersonation of Jesse Eisenberg's impersonation of Mark Zuckerberg.
I hacked into Dr. Foley's computer. It was ridiculously easy.
While Nika distracts Nurse Ashley, Malcolm slips out the door unnoticed. Nika watches from the window as Chucky whispers sweet nothings into Madeline's ear and then flips Nika off. Rude fucking doll, man. Nika tries to warn Madeline what's up, but instead Madeline just tosses Chucky into an open grave. When Malcolm comes over to see what's going on, Maddie pushes him in as well. Meanwhile, Claire grabs the Chucky doll from Foley's office and goes to throw it away, but gets bitten as she tries. But wait a minute, we just saw Madeline's doll confirmed as Chucky, and now there's pretty strong evidence that this doll's alive too? Cult of Chucky. Foley and Carlos just think she injured herself, so they take her away, strap her to the bed, and drug her up with downers. They leave at Nurse Ashley's request for help with Malcolm, and during an interesting, if not entirely necessary split-screen sequence, Nika watches as Malcolm helps Chucky out of the grave and then is pulled out of the grave himself. He turns and looks at Nika with a psychopathic smile, and we're beginning to get ideas of what the cult of Chucky might actually be. The Chucky with Claire disappears from his seat and pops back up bedside with a can of compressed air. He toys with Claire a little bit before slamming the canister into the ground, shooting skyward to repeat that honeymoon waterbed Chucky. But this one's a lot cooler, with a close-up on Claire's eye shedding a single tear, a real nice slow-motion shot of the glass shards falling, and a full-on decapitation to top things off. Way more graphic than the comical deaths of those hotel grifters, although Chucky's always willing to lighten the mood.
Sometimes I scare myself.
Somehow, word of the murders makes its way to Perez Hilton's website, and since Andy is a consummate consumer of celebrity gossip, he sees it. The messed up head finally lays out what's up in this movie.
You thought I was the only one?
Andy takes out another Chucky doll, one with a Kent Academy haircut that would make Sergeant Botnick freaking cream himself, and takes off in his truck. Back at the asylum, Nika's caught on to the twist in this movie.
I think both dolls are alive somehow.
Ade Boku Dembella.
Holy shit, was that an incantation variation? I don't know how Nika overheard that or whatever to justify that cutaway, but she's insisting to Foley that she's not a murderer and Chucky did it all. His response is to drug her and use a flashing light to hypnotize her so he can be real fucking creepy and sexually abuse her. Gross, dude. Can't wait for you to get murdered. For now, he just gets knocked out by Chucky, though, and even he can tell how nasty Foley is.
And they call me?
Chucky still takes advantage of Nika's dazed state in his own way, though, encouraging her to take a shard of broken glass and murder Foley with it so she can join the club. The screen fades to black before before anything happens, and then we find Nika crawling down a hallway. She crawls right into an image of Alice, who tells her they've been waiting for her, and before you can say, what the fuck, man, Alice reverses away, and there's a giant wavy Chucky standing over Nika with a knife. And, yeah, still standing there. Long shot. Sometime later, Malcolm's acting real weird, and when Nika asks him what his name is today, he tells her.
It's Charles. I think we've met.
What if he winds up meeting Charles Barkley? That'd be fun. The movie jumps another weird level when Maddie takes Chucky to her room and breastfeeds him. Guaranteed Chucky talked her into that one. Or maybe not, because it seems like he hasn't fully come out to her yet. Oh, Chucky, she's your mom. She'll love you no matter what. Or suffocate you with a pillow. Yeah, looks like Madeline's gonna do that instead, I guess. It's apparently the same thing she did to her real-life baby, as Dr. Foley reveals, and the reason she was committed in the first place. As Madeline gives her surrogate baby a tearful apology, Nika interrupts her in an attempt to grab Chucky, but Dr. Folester stops her and says it's time to bury the past. So they do. We get a good guy funeral and burial that Nika watches eyefully from the window. On his way to the hospital, Andy gets a call from Tiffany or Jennifer or whatever.
Even I lose track.
She asks him to join up in their ever-growing cult, but Andy's not into it. Sorry, Tiff. He gets there that night and is stopped by a security guard who tells him to go on and get. Andy acts fast to get himself committed, punching the guard to wind up in a white-tastic room of his own. What, there's no processing time to get committed there? Nika keeps vigil watching Chucky's grave until she finally sees him punch through the dirt. Then she gets drugged from behind with a needle in her neck, so she misses it when Grave Chucky goes full Margaret White. So we've got 2 Chuckies running around now. Why not have a third? Because we get one when Dr. Sex Abuser opens a box delivered to him and finds buzz-cut Chucky inside. Almost time for the call party, everybody. Get ready. But first, let's deal with some loose ends, like shoelaces, which Madeline isn't allowed to have because she's on suicide watch. Nurse Ashley takes the laces away and tells Maddie she'll check on her every 15 minutes. When she leaves, Grave Chucky is waiting behind the door, and he manipulates Madeline until she's opening her arms for one final embrace. It's final because she's hiring Chucky as her own personal Kevorkian.
Will it hurt?
I'll do my best.
Chucky proceeds to stick his little plastic hand into Maddie's mouth. Sure, it's got some dirt on it, but at least this isn't the same doll from Seed. You wouldn't want that good guy's hand anywhere near your mouth. Chucky finishes the job by going elbow deep and pulling out Madeline's... Shit, dog, what is that? A trachea? Is that what a trachea looks like? Or is that just straight up spinal cord? I don't know, but it's gross and all kinds of awesome. Her death is made to look like a suicide with Chucky's detached arm sticking out of her mouth. Maddie's death is the breaking point for Nurse Ashley, who hands in her badge and her gun to Foley. He takes a dark stroll of the soul to his office, where he finds Nika sitting there in a straitjacket. He falls back on classic exploitive therapist motivation, saying he's gonna write a book about Nika's situation, but I bet you he leaves out the part where he fucking molests her. Speaking of which, Dr. Ravenstein takes out some red shoes for Nika to wear, cause I don't know, looks like he's into that, I guess. Thankfully, before he can act on his fetishes, Nika spits in his face and Chucky gives an encore performance that knocks Foley out again.
I just can't.
Now it's time for the movie's craziness to crack wide open, because one-armed Grave Chucky joins Nika and Clawhand Chucky to tell his counterpart that Andy in the house, but they should be careful because he got that crazy eye going on. They waste literally no time using their activation key on the third Chucky doll in the room.
Give me the power, I beg of you.
A new Chucky has entered the game. The trio of Chuckies act like a vaudeville routine as Clawhand Chucky explains what's going on.
A few years ago, I came across this groovy new spell on voodoofordummies.com. Now,
Sorry.
me and
Oh shit.
Then he tells Nika that he also inhabited Alice's body and used it to murder some people until someone fought back and killed her, which is not only really fucking dark, but also explains the end of Curse. Turns out the incantation near Grandma's suffocation did actually work, and the Chucky mailed to Andy was the result of this soul-splitting or whatever Ade Boku spell. Carlos walks in on all this crazy talk and is dumbfounded as the 3 Chucksketeers swarm him. They stab him in the leg and then go crazy on him for a 4th kill, grilling him and stabbing him some more and slicing open his torso to get some gaseous intestinal release there. Buzzcut Chucky is having a great time. He'll be the first to tell you.
I never felt so alive.
I only saw this movie one time. That's why I barely remember any of these kills. Oh God.
The Chuckies argue over who gets to go kill Andy
not
until
gonna
they agree to let
make
Buzzcut
this
Chucky
one.
do the honors on account of feeling bad about his shitty haircut. Outside, the guard from earlier finds a sexy red car idling, but when he looks inside the window, the only thing he sees is a Tiffany doll sitting by her lonesome. Hey, guess what happens next? Yep, Bailey and
That must be her specialty.
I'm old enough to remember Bride of Chucky, where Tiffany admonished Chucky
That
to be more
must be
creative
her
with skills.
specialty,
Back
then. Slit
inside,
through the
Chucky
neck.
tells Nika he had never
Slit
planned
the
on
throat.
killing her, and instead goes into one last chant. A return of rolling clouds means the shit really went through this time, and Nika suddenly stands up out of her wheelchair. I don't know how Chucky's soul would fix whatever brain or spinal cord injury kept her from being able to walk, but you know what?
Oh,
When it
shit.
really comes to, and she's
Oh,
just
God.
standing there, which must be
Oh,
real
God.
confusing. Although
Oh,
I bet he's
God.
really into
I
it
think
when
I
he
might-
starts
I might
groping
lose.
himself.
It's definitely perks.
I might lose.
Naturally possessed.
Chuck Nika walks over to Foley, tells him this kill is for Nika, then proceeds to glorious kill in this entire franchise, stomping his head to mush against the ground. Holy shit! Way out the door, Chuck Nika runs into Malcolm. He's very proud of himself for killing Nurse Ashley with a drill to the stomach.
You killed Nurse Ashley!
I did kill her! Defying physics there, but whatever. Nika calls out Malcolm, saying he's not actually the one who killed Ashley, and calls him a poser. He drops to his knees in despair, perfect height for a doll to drill the drill comes out the front through the eye, and another seriously gruesome kill coming in just 2 minutes after Nika's stomp across Foley's face. Chuck Nika and Grave Chucky have a real good laugh together. It's always nice to see two people become such fast friends. Finally, Buzzcut Chucky goes to Andy's room and keycards his way in, but after he throws a knife into Andy's leg, Andy bounces back and pins him up against the wall like literally anyone could have done throughout any of these movies. Then he just digs his hand into Chucky's tum-tum, disemboweling him and whipping out a gun and a callback.
This is the end, fucker!
Andy shoots Chucky in the head and confirms that he's the one who sent this doll to Dr. Foley in the first place. With a final fuck you from Chucky, Andy channels his inner Nika and crushes this Chucky's head until it looks like a smashed crimson pumpkin. Man, if you think about it, Andy just killed like a 1-hour-old being. Chuck Nika is standing in the doorway and tells Andy if he shoots, he'll kill Nika too. Andy goes for it anyway, but he forgot to press R earlier, and while he's reloading his gun, Chuck Nika locks him in.
Accurate, pal.
He's left in his padded room as Grave Chucky plants the drill and takes his place as an unassuming doll in the Asylum rec room. Chuck Nika comes outside to meet Tiffany, and they have a passionate reunion.
So this is different. Works for me.
Yeah, I bet it works for you, Tiffany, seeing as how Fiona Dorff looks just like her freaking dad, man. It's uncanny. Their victory laughs are joined by the Tiffany doll in the back, who's also alive, maybe with Alice's soul since they mentioned her right beforehand. I don't freaking know, man. The movie's over. We'll just have to wait for the next one for answers. But hold up, the Blu-ray and DVD version has a post-credit scene. In it, the captive Chucky head in Andy's cabin wakes up to the sound of a car pulling up. In walks a blonde lady all dressed in black.
Kyle?
We're gonna have some fun.
She approaches the head and he screams in anguish. With that, the movie's over for real. It was definitely a slow burn, but it's still a fair number of kills.
Cow, hold on.
Many exactly?
Hold on.
Let's grab our friend Chucky.
Hey, I pause. Pause for a good second. Let me go back to. Is that the one from Child's Play 2? Hold on. Come on. Yup! Wow! Oh, she still look good as hell too. Wow!
Stop! He's killing me! He's killing me!
Oh man, she went there.
9 people died in Cult of Chucky, which is plenty. Quit bitching that it wasn't enough people. Of the victims, 5 were men and 4 were women, a near even split between genders. With a runtime of 91 minutes, that comes out to a kill, on average, about every 10 minutes, even though 2/3 of them happened in the last 16 minutes of the movie. Fuck you, Chucky. Golden Chainsaw for Coolest Kill has so many options, but I'll give it to Dr. Foley's death when Nika put on her red shoes and danced the blues. It's so long and gory, and the practical effects are absolutely outstanding. Doll Machete for lamest kill will go to Nurse Ashley, who got killed off screen with a single drill bit to the stomach. And that's it. Cult of Chucky is the latest in the Child's Play series, which turns 30 next year. We're done with Chucky on the kill count for now, but I'm glad I did this because I truly have a new respect for this wild and crazy series. We're back to some one-offs until November, starting with your next in a week. And until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count.
I made it through. I ain't think I was gonna make that. Oh, I thought I was gonna lose at the both the stomp on the head on the doctor and the drill, but because that's what I turned my head on when I watched it originally. But made it through barely. Hi. There you go. That's all from the After Chucky one. So I didn't, because I watched it on Netflix. I ain't know about the Blu-ray unrated. Hi, cows on it. So it's gonna be another sequel to that. But then again, fortunately now because they had a reboot, so I'm not sure they're gonna do it or not. But yeah, that was good. It was good because I made it through. Can't say the same when I do the Saw series. That's why I'm very hesitant. I'm gonna hold out for a while. Other than that, you know what's next. So we're in of the post original Chucky movies kill counts. Now we're going to do next one we'll do will be the ranking of the Chucky movies, and now the highest one out there of the original 3 will be the one I do the kill count for y'all. So other than that, if y'all like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to the channel. I will make this a live premiere as well too, like I did last one. So it's your boy T-Bear signing off. One love.